what I do and then what I've been doing for the past 1 year here. Before I begin, I want to put a question to all of you. What happens after children are thrown out, abandoned, and orphaned? You read in news every day that there is a child in dustbin or somebody thrown away or abandoned in their houses. And then they are put into orphanages and shelters. And we think the problem is over. That is where the real problem begins. What happens to these children when they do not have the appropriate environment to live like their peers who live in families? When these children leave these orphanages, they end up being in juvenile crimes, they are dropouts, they are your abusers, and they are depressed. These children from the orphanages and shelter homes, they are likely to be your future rape victims or your abusers. This is Muruganandam. He is a boy I work with. He is 19 years old. When he was 3, his mom died and his father married another woman and they left him on the road. Ever since he has been living in an orphanage. This is Vinod. And this little boy here, he told me one day in class that his father was killed by his uncle and hung on a tree, and they made it look like a suicide, and his mother was abused and now she's mentally ill. He is also one of the inmates in the same orphanage. So I was wondering what I could do, and 3 years ago I started an organization for these children. I had various projects here. Last year I presented all the projects that I was doing for these children. One of them was this One Step Ahead project. What I did was, I created an environment for these children where there were no blackboards, no textbooks, and no classic teaching methods. All the projects were done outdoor, and the classroom environment was created in a much different way. I had more practical and stimulating activities for these children. This was a workshop which I was doing on weekends for all children from government schools, orphanages, and shelters. So the second project I did was New Nikas. What I did, I went around to these orphanages and I gave these children underwear. Why, you may ask? Nobody discusses about the process of sexual growth with these children. When a girl gets her period, she's just given a bundle of cloth and said, make do. That's it. But we had our parents to teach us all these things. So I took underwear as an icebreaker so we could speak to these children about, it was kind of, a topic opener. After giving that, around 2 hours I speak to them explaining the process of physical growth, something that these children don't understand. And then the final project I spoke about was the Wish Fairy project. We work with, children can be of many categories. There are orphans, there are abandoned children, they are abused, they are depressed. And one of them are children who are affected or infected by diseases. These children were given the same classroom environment, they were given gifts, and though we couldn't help them in the medical wise, we helped them in a much different place. So the problems I addressed was normalcy. How do you tell a child that it is not right that her or his or her mother is beaten up by the father? It is not right. How do you explain that to the child? He's been seeing that from a very young age. What happens when this boy grows up? He thinks it is okay to hit his wife. He thinks, or she thinks it is okay to be hit by her husband. This is a topic that we talk to all our children. Then is sexuality and the process of growth. Homosexuality is a problem in orphanages. We do not want to speak that word. In India, it is like, don't ask, don't tell. This is what we follow. We just don't want to speak about it. So this is also a topic we discuss. We teach them the purpose of education, why it is important to learn, why it is important to attend school. We teach them that. And unlike foreign countries like America or Canada, they have social workers to work with these children in orphanages. But here, we don't have such facilities. So we go around and give counseling to these children. We talk about abuse, we talk about good touch and bad touch, and we teach them that it is their own free will. And then we tell them about the gift of life. So after I went from here last year, I evolved, it was TEDx Evolve. And I think I really did. And we brought all these concepts together, and I opened a school called the Bojanan School, where all the children, if they wanted to be a lawyer, they lived a life of a lawyer for a day. They had various classes. This is how it works. So all the projects together combined, I opened an unschool for these children. So this boy, he is working as an apprentice in BHEL right now, and this boy has finished his 10th standard exams successfully. So what drives me, what makes me devoted to the work I do is the children, they don't want, it is addictive, like Ms. Anusha said in the beginning, it is addictive. Once you start working with such people, with such children, the love they show on you is something really addictive. This is what devotes me. And my devotion drives me to answer these questions. I'm always told, you're born in a particular caste, you're not supposed to work like this, or stay at home and learn to be a potential bride. I am always faced with such problems. But then, the devotion takes over. When you live in the world of these children, and when you're devoted and when you're passionate about what you do, all the rest of the problems in the world just look so petty. In 3 years, I grew on, and in the last 1 year, I've gone from being a student speaker here. I've done a much bigger thing. I've attained a bigger circle of children. And most people think I dream a lot, and I just don't keep dreaming, I do it. And I'm not the only one. Most of you here, most of the student speakers here have a lot of dreams, and I hope all of them get to achieve it. Finally, I would like to finish saying, what is done to the children, they do to the society. Or what you ignore to do to the children, you don't want to do to the children will reflect on the future. Thank you.